got a I still got a reduction on my max HP.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm missing like 20 health.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of you guys have some pretty major reductions because you haven't long rested since you got those negatives.
Yup.
Yeah, just
All right.
try not to get hit. Yeah, it's easy.
Yeah. No problem.
Absolutely.
All right, I am all ready. So we will go back up to Fiona and Michael. I believe we left it off that she had just agreed to bump up the stakes to a larger diamond. I believe that before it was a 300 GP diamond, maybe, and then it moved to a
Yes.
500. No, it moved to a 500, but I don't know what it was before.
Personally, I thought it
Yeah,
was
I
double or
currently
nothing.
have 300.
But,
She didn't go to double or nothing quite yet.
Okay.
She might be going to that level, but you don't know. But she did. I know she agreed to 500 on the other before
Okay.
we.
Well, continue. I'm just saying what I recall myself, but yeah, continue.
Yeah. So right now she asked one of her servants to go and fetch her jewelry case of so that she can procure you this larger diamond. It probably won't be in its raw form. It's not like they're diamond traffickers or anything, or even miners. But they do have jewelry which she can take it out of. But anyway, so she started. She also was shuffling the deck in a more confident fashion, and just immediately tended to adopt a more serious tone and set of abilities in gambling, as opposed to essentially she was kind of putting on a show before of being less capable than she actually is. So I'm going to be making the DCs bigger than before when you try to do this. You guys, let's do a perception check on Michael to see what he can hear specifically. Okay, that's you. You'd be able to hear down there. He knows he's going down there.
We
Haven't really
do
made
have
it. Yeah, Dad. It would be kind of weird. That's not supernaturally high yet. If it was like I would say 20 or higher, you would hear them down there, but you don't.
Okay.
So all you do is just hear all the movement throughout the house. Well, a lot of movement throughout the house, and you can make a judgment call going off of your own instincts and just as a human. You know what I mean? A humanoid. You would say there's probably around half a dozen to maybe like 10 people in the house in total, like this floor and then one above you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and they're all like various sizes and moving at various speeds, so it's not like one specific other type of person of any kind. What else about, like, let me see what else is in this room, because I remember saying there was something, noticing there was something important about this particular room. Something important in it.
The lizard on her shoulder.
Yes, well, I mean that is a thing, that the imp on her shoulder is kind of interesting. It's not quite like a cat or anything else that you guys have noticed. I mean, that's how it's behaving, but it's not what it is.
It looks like a cat, but it doesn't look like.
What's it
I
taste
mean,
like?
it looks like a small dragon. Like it's got
Yeah,
wings
yeah.
and stuff.
A pseudo.
Yeah, it's either it's a pseudo dragon or an imp. Actually, you'd have to do, actually, knowing you, I would let you do a not a nature check, probably like a religion check if you want, and then you can define it for certain. Yeah, okay, there you go. It is an imp. You're confident in that. It definitely is, which is very weird because you know imps are fiends, and you know how troublesome fiends can be. So it's kind of weird that she's very comfortable with that association.
Yeah. I'd probably ask her, like, how'd you come across this friend of yours? I motion to the imp.
All right. She. Okay. She says that
Some
he's someone that she met when she was a little girl, in one of the nearby forests, when things were a bit more peaceful. They've never been truly peaceful, but less antagonistic by comparison, less violent. It was a time where it was acceptable for children her age to do that sort of thing. And it's something that she came across in the wild. It was dining on a rabbit, and although she was initially terrified by it because it was eating something, or it killed something, and not something that she really was comfortable with or familiar with at the time yet.
yet.
Yet. For some reason, it didn't terrify her as much as she thought it would, because once it turned around and noticed her, it was big eyes, classically cute thing. So it's something that she would then give some of her own food that she had with her, and ever since then they've
Best
not
friends.
been together, but been best friends. Yeah, they have been in each other's company.
Huh.
Okay. I already know this. This may want to do. I just want to know if I want to do it yet. No, not yet. Okay. So let's do go. The serpent comes down.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh no.
The servant comes
It's
down.
very foreboding.
That had left to grab the jewelry case that she had been asked to get before. She returns. She's carrying it. She puts it down. Which between all you guys have you had your food that you made, and it's kind of all been shoved to one side of the table, very packed together, because you were very generous in your initial greeting. There's the
Yeah,
tea there.
created
there's
food and water.
Yeah, and then in the middle is, or kind of to the side in the middle area, there is the two-way, a clear way where you guys are putting the cards down on either side of the table. And so this girl comes in and hands the box to Fiona and waits. Immediately, Fiona says, "Ah, yes, good. Well," she opens up the box, and on her lap, and she pulls out this beautiful necklace made of, just say, silver, or a silver metal of some kind. You're not a metallurgist, you could use something else. And it definitely has a large diamond in the center of it. Whereas where its main feature is a diamond of considerable quality. Not insane. There's even better, bigger diamonds, but this is still nice.
Pretty good.
And she just kind of tosses it dismissively, not the diamond, the whole entire necklace, onto the table. She's either confident she's going to win, or she doesn't really care about such things when it comes to when she's in her competitive spirit, where she's just going to do anything to win or something. Madalena then, or the servant beside her, then gives her a kind of concerned look. You notice on this expression on her face. Fiona just turns to her and just nods without saying anything more, obviously looking very serious, and ready to continue. Madalena immediately just kind of like jogs past. Gets out of the room quickly. Can we do everything else? Yep. All right. Lighting's okay. Okay, so let me just describe a little bit about this room before we do the actual rolls. So I'll make sure you know everything about this room. I think I may have read this before, but I'm not entirely certain. Here, 3 elegant couches surround an oval table made of black glass. All are set in front of a blazing hearth, above which hangs the portrait of a smirking nobleman sporting a broken nose and a tangle of hair graying at his temples. Several smaller portraits hang on the north wall. Why don't you do a history check to determine who the person is hanging above the hearth?
It's true.
It's definitely not Strahd. It doesn't look anything like him.
Down.
But so yeah, the 14 will be enough to say that you notice that it's consistent with what you were told about some of the big families here in the country about the Wachters, and that this is probably Nikolai Wachter, the husband of Fiona Wachter, who passed away some time ago, not too long ago. Yeah, he was the family's previous patriarch. There was nothing said about the circumstances of his death, but going by what you see there, it'd be weird if he died of natural causes, because you don't know when the portrait was made, or how old it looks. You're not that knowledgeable of art and that sort of thing. Also, I'll read this. The table you came in through Bookbindy was the dining room over here. It's an ornate silver dining table stretches across the length of the room, a crystal chandelier hanging above it imperiously. The silverware is tarnished, the dishes chipped, yet are still quite elegant. 8 chairs, their backs adorned with sculpted elk horns, surround the table. Arched windows made of latticework of iron and glass look out onto the small, fog-swept estate.
Yeah, I guess I'd, after seeing the portrait, I'd look at her and be like, it's a shame about your husband. I heard he was a nice man.
One moment. Sorry. Sorry, I was getting some noise and didn't want it to come in. She looks down at the wine that was brought before, and I get to her glass after she had filled it again. Momentarily quiet, and something that she hasn't really been so far, as far as the expression on her face is a bit softer, at least for a moment. She looks at their wine and looks at the portrait and then back at you and says, he was a good man. He was a strong man. He knew what he wanted to accomplish and did everything in his power to see that through. Though she kind of like swirled the wine in her glass before taking a sip from it. Not as much as she had before, but some of the same. She says, there's still much more that needs to be done, and now he's left it all to myself and my family. And she put down her glass, and then she starts dealing the cards. So you would probably want to put down 500 gold pieces yourself. Is that what you're doing?
Yes.
Okay. So go ahead and do that, or rather,
Bargain
argue
considering the quality of the necklace is attached.
Yeah, actually, that's a good point. it's not going to be. It's going to be worth more than just the diamond itself. So let's say we'll just increase that by 300 more. So let's put it at 800.
Damn, that's fine.
Alright. Yeah, it says the guy who's not putting money on the table.
I mean,
Well,
I'm
technically,
you
they did
betting?
give you some money.
I
They
gave
loaned
you
you some money. But still,
We'll just rob her if she takes too much. We'll just-
probably.
Yeah.
Yes.
What? She's a noble.
Alright.
One you don't like.
I'm agreeing with you and just wondering if the rest of the party's going to be okay with this too.
I mean, I think that emotionally Darius is about this, but okay, whatever gets us out of this shithole.
We'll put it
Should we be
back.
Robbing people? Yes, we're robbing people now.
Yeah, we rob people now.
We problem people now. All right. So then roll a wisdom. Sorry, insight, deception.
Ooh.
Wow.
Yeah. And what was the last one?
Deception. All right. I'm gonna roll these in secret to make it more interesting.
Absolutely. I believe you. You
Really
already
hate
used the
to
inspiration. as well.
Banish this lady. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any? I think you might have bardic inspiration.
I
think
used
so.
it.
Yeah.
I used it on
Yeah.
like the second hand, I think.
Yeah, I do vaguely remember that now. Okay. Well, then you get 2 successes and 1 fail, which is good because that means you actually come out ahead. Otherwise, it would have been, if it was 1 success, it only would have been, you would have lost half the money you had.
I really think you should probably intentionally lose a round to make us not suspicious you're cheating or something.
I mean, I'm not. This is just an honest
Yeah,
game.
she is kind of paranoid. But well, as far as what happens functionally, as far as winning, you win the Met necklace, and it's not any issues, but she's going to be a bit grumpier than last time since it wasn't.
Maybe pull the
As-
crystal out and say,
Okay.
you keep the rest. It's like, yeah, I just need the crystals.
She kind of grips the glass, not glass, it's like a ceramic, more chalice, there we go, that's what I'm looking for. She grips it enough that you see her knuckles whiten, and you think that if it were a bit more fragile, the thing would probably shatter. As far as the expression on her face, she's angry. But she doesn't say anything yet. She's kind of like quietly fuming as the cards kind of are all presented as they are on the table. And then she just looks to the imp on her shoulder, who's been like staring at you this whole time. But when she looks at it, it looks at her, kind of curious about something itself. It's like it looks like it is mulling over something in itself, and she kind of exchanges a glance, somehow communicating with it in some way, you don't know. And
Maybe.
then she kind of just looks back at you and just as a soft kind of almost sinister smile. It's very slight, but it's not one of like I'm going to kill you, but
I was
more
about to
of
say
one
she
of,
can kill me every game of cards.
it's more of one of I'm impressed with your abilities, and less I'm going to murder you. Yeah. So yeah, you get the diamond. You're good there. So you won the 300 GP diamond last time. You won the 500 GP now. So then she's going to stand up and kind of walk past you over here. And right as she does so, she kind of puts a hand on your shoulder momentarily and kind of get your attention and says, hold on, or please stay here. I want to go find something for the final hand.
Hmm.
Which she kind of just continues with the same smile that she has kind of like etched into her face at this point. It seems like it's forced. Where she walks into the corner of the room, or this other room here, the dining room, and you see her reach out and open a doorway that you don't know where it leads, but leads into a room that you barely saw the features of before when you were coming down the pathway to the doorway, the main doorway. You're not entirely sure what it is, but she's walking. She's not moving very quickly or anything. If you want to do an insight check, you can kind of determine like maybe what her intentions are on a loose level.
Release the house.
Release?
You don't think she's gonna is gonna go get a weapon or something. You don't get like any sort of murderous intent, as the Japanese would say. But it's more. She's kind of putting in all. She's kind of done playing around, and she's gonna do one last hand, and that's gonna be it. And whatever the results are is gonna be that. And she's kind of being kind of final, or I don't know the other word. Very. Not bipolar, but very set in that it's going to be this or nothing kind of thing.
Okay.
The other room, you hear her talking to someone else, which is slightly surprising. You didn't know that anybody else would be in there, but you do hear. She did close the door behind her. It wasn't something where she did shut the door, but you can hear it well. But she's talking to someone, and it's a man with an accent that is a bit unusual, but it's nothing that you can't make out the words in any serious like fashion. You don't really know what she's saying, but it's something that started off with politeness. At least it was quiet at the beginning, and then picks up to being a bit more aggressive before dying back down, and you're hearing movement around the room. All right. Then I'm gonna find something specific here, and I'll be switching over to the other people in just a second. Okay. She comes back out. Shortly after that, she opens the door again and comes back out the same exact way she had before, not really moving or doing anything in any different fashion. She was just moments before that. Let's say she's been gone for a minute, maybe two, not that long. And while you're here, you're just hearing the aches and groans of the house, as they typically are, perhaps slightly more exaggerated than what they should be for a house of supposed quality. You feel the warm air from the hearth kind of wash over you, and it's one of the few pleasantries that you are able to benefit from under the circumstances, given the otherwise kind of bleak, gray, slightly disconcerting home. When she's walking past you again, she's carrying something in like a chest, and she returns back to the couch on her side, and she kind of puts it down, and it with like a not a slam, but it's enough weight, and you could tell that she's straining herself to her near limits, that she's carrying something of such
She might spend
substantial.
all of her allowance.
Ah, a chest.
Yes. It's one that she can carry herself as a single old woman. So let's say if the jewelry box was standard jewelry box size, this is about twice as long and about 3 times as high, made of similar materials and engraved with various just typical fancy stuff, let's just put it that way, of like flowers and noble animals like horses and dogs, and maybe some birds and the like. It's you don't know if there's any correlation between what's engraved on there
Yeah,
and
I was going to
what
say, is
would
it
be
carving
inside
or
it, but
metalwork or?
it's carving into the wood, and then there is some on the corners to give it some
Fabric
strength.
pattern
There are
or
some,
something?
yeah, that sort of thing. With in the corners, there's some strengthening done by some metal, some basic chromish, like silverish metal in the corners. That is also kind of filigreed to make it. This is a high quality chest, probably one of the more high quality chests you guys have come across in your travels in general. She puts it down and she hasn't opened it yet because I need to finish off my tea before I can do that and reveal what it actually is.
That's just the chest.
It's just a harmless old chest.
It's a severed head.
It's more me thinking of something that I want it to be. I'm trying to also, yeah, I want it to be something cool for you specifically, Michael. Kind of like a word. Why don't we just say that's what it is, of something of specific value, then I could think of what it will actually be afterwards, because I can't think of anything at the immediate moment, and I don't want it to be something more generic. It's just more gold or more valuables that are just gold, essentially, because you guys are going to be done soon, and gold is losing value significantly.
Currently unidentified item.
Yeah, a currently unidentified item of generic nothingness. But you glean from the chest that it's of substantial value, and it's even worth more than what you obtained before. Like, it's worth more than the $800 necklace and diamond necklace that you just got. And when she comes back out, she sets it down. You notice that behind her, very quietly, you didn't really perceive it at first. When she comes back around, because your attention is on her, and this person was deliberately being quiet, or just is quiet. Comes around and you notice that you feel a presence to your back left of someone that you have not
A
seen
fancy
before.
boy.
Yes, he's a fancy boy. He's dressed in garb that is a bit unusual for this region. It's not Barovian typical. And he's got a shade of skin that is also different. So this is a foreigner to Barovia. And he, the way he moved around, he's obviously a skillful, I don't know, he's sneaking, able to sneak well. Let's put it that way. And he's just watching her with interest as he's nursing his own beverage in his hands.
Yeah, I would turn and be like, I don't believe we've met, friend. I am Michael. May I have the pleasure of knowing who is awkwardly standing behind me?
He looks at Fiona, kind of waiting for permission, and she just seemingly having renewed confidence in her ability to win in spite of everything, in spite of losing twice in a row. She gives him a slight nod, in which he just kind of bows his head politely and says, Larnak, I work for Madame Wachter. I perform errands for her of all kinds. You need not worry. I'm merely watching for my own entertainment. It's not often that we have visitors to the home, aside from the typical friends of our madam here. He just gives her a nod, of which it maybe implies something that you don't know, and she just kind of gives him a glance of slight criticism. Maybe it's like a bit more pointed, like she kind of squints at him, of like, don't say too much, or know what you work for me, don't do anything that I don't tell you to do. And then with that, I would want to say, she starts dealing the cards, and as this is going on, however, I want to cut down the other people, because that would make sense to do. Alright, so you guys are down here in the cellar. You guys have your respective positions as far as in the place, and you notice that there's this stairwell that goes back up into the house, footprints that come along to this wall. You don't know what's at the wall specifically. You have not yet found the supposed secret entrance that there is, but you're very much assuming that there is one. You're all still benefiting from spells of some kind. Got Cole's Pass Without Trace, and one's Enhance Ability. Interesting. Something.
Yeah, so I've got my shield and a net out, kind of like those old, gladiators in the Colosseum. Just kind of shield in front of me in case some waiting to stab me or shoot me or something. A net to catch them.
Yeah.
Secret door. What could possibly be done?
Okay, so then, even though you know about it, you're still gonna have to find it. So, Lucien, give me an investigation check.
I mean, we went to the door because of footprints on the ground.
I know. I'm saying specifically finding a place to open it.
How much time is it going to take to buy it?
That too. I need it. Yeah, exactly.
Secret.
14.
I mean,
It's
I'm
about-
no fancy investigator, but I suspect maybe the source of the secret door is somewhere where the footprints originate from, maybe sort of that direction.
Well, yes, but presumably
Actually, one is really on the money. You guys are all kind of moving around quietly, of course.
I mean, literally the only alternative could be like a trap door from the ceiling people drop down from is the only alternative I can think of.
It could be, the opening mechanism is just at another place, like not next to the door.
Mm.
I was kind of picturing Scooby-Doo, like you pull a torch off the wall.
Yeah,
and,
me
like,
too.
cranks
Yeah.
down and the wall flips and.
As far as the specifics of in this particular case, it is the on the handguard that down the stairwell right here. This one at the very, very end is you notice that it moves and that it
That's a terrible place to put a lever for a secret door. Many people will be touching that on the way down.
well, the thing is, like, not many people are allowed in the home. It's not something that people are allowed to go down to the cellar that don't work here. It's a bit of an overconfidence thing.
Mm.
All the same, that you put it here and you gotta have to pick it up and then pull it toward you. So it's not something that would accidentally happen if you're like running your hands down and then you like bump into the handle. Nothing like that. It's you gotta actually like lift
does
it
someone-
and pull it toward you. And
Does someone want to mage hand it, or does someone want to go over and do it?
I mean,
Yeah,
got
let's
it.
not walk like.
yeah, someone would have to be over there
Right.
to who does so.
by
Yeah.
all means. I'll try Mage Hand if you're ready to open the door.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, Mage Hand is sufficient. It doesn't require more than 10 pounds of manipulation of force. And with that,
I, by the way, do not have anything ready, like attacks or anything.
Oh, I'm ready to throw a net
Yeah.
on someone I see.
okay, just making sure so you guys are hostile in the sense that you are intending on attacking
I mean,
whatever's on the other side.
If
Well-
they hit me or look evil, yeah.
Alright, then what I'm gonna do is, what it's gonna be actually is it's gonna be essentially a check that you're gonna have to make a check before you act, and if you fail it, you're gonna be committed to whatever you're doing no matter what. Kind of like a reaction thing.
That's cool.
And let's do that.
Oh,
my shit.
well, that looks
The
pretty
ring
evil
race.
to me.
What the hell?
Alright, so you open this door, opens, like, kind of slides to the side, kind of down over this direction. Just slides downward, or southward in our perspective.
There's
And,
necromancy in this establishment.
Immediately,
What the hell?
there are these 4 men in similar garb to one another, and they all are sitting in chairs. They were
Like-
mumbling between themselves.
Yeah, in the middle of a book club, I'm sure. That's what's happening.
Yeah. Yep. Um,
Does everyone in Barovia have something weird going on in the basement?
I think so.
anyway, they all are. They look at you, and then one of them, the one nearest you, stands up and like tries to and moves, steps back here, wondering. They immediately, so this guy here just says, "Who are you?" And they're all kind of got this look of shock and confusion, surprised to be seeing anyone here. Let me give you some descriptions. I don't know if I did this before. I'm gonna be redundant and say that I'm gonna read this area, the cot, like with the cellar area again, just to make sure I got it all. This large root cellar has a dirt floor. 2 ascending flights of stone steps enclosed by wooden railings stand across from one another. Tracks in the earth lead from one staircase to the other, and other trails go from staircases to the center of the bare west wall. 4 neatly made cots are set in a row against the south wall. And then for this room, I just revealed, flickering candles and iron holders fill this room with light and shadows. This room has a 10-foot-high ceiling and a large black pentagram inscribed on the stone floor. At each point of the pentagram rests a wooden chair. Seated in 4 of the 5 chairs are men and women in black robes with hoods. A young man who has the face of an angel, a balding hulk of a man, a squat middle-aged woman, and a taller younger woman with an unsettling glare. They rise to confront you.
Yeah, so should we roll off to see which one of us responds first? Sorry to cut you off there.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh.
Let's don't do initiative checks for real. Let's just do dexterity checks, raw dexterity, to see 2 different things. As far as it will be simultaneously determining your order and whether or not you get to react with what you want willfully or not.
Guess we're not doing diplomacy. Yeah.
No,
I was just getting
not like that.
So yeah, Darius and Cole, did you have anything you wanted
Yeah,
to?
you know I don't want to do anything substantial. I'm just going to go, new janitors?
Yeah. To
Yeah.
be fair,
I'm
that's
not
pretty
gonna-
much what I was gonna say.
I'm not gonna do anything.
Well, then you get to say it.
I'm not gonna do anything either. I just always have my shield in my off hand, and I'm just gonna put my hand on the hilt of my scimitar and just kind of get a. I can't think of the proper word. Get a sense of the room, like
Sense.
before I unsheath my weapon.
Okay. Not at all a problem. This person here, I'm gonna say, let's say it's the Let's go with the balding man, just to make it easier. All the others are the others I described. This is the balding man,
Okay.
and he, they don't go for any weapons or anything. A quick glance over cursory doesn't reveal any weapons, obviously, or any obvious weapons, like no huge, like long sword sheaths or whatever.
Mhm.
Lucian, you get to react first, and you get to choose. You willfully get to choose what you want to do, because you have enough reaction speed that you don't have to go
Okay.
ahead with what you wanted. They don't seem immediately
Okay.
hostile, but they're definitely suspicious.
So I drop my sword, or I drop my shield and net, and I step in the room. I pull out the sun sword. I don't like, like make it go full lightsaber yet, but I
No.
just kind of hold it in my hand and also hold a spell. And as I say, everybody line up here in the middle of this here pentagram. Take off your masks and get on your knees. Or, yeah.
Okay,
Or
so I'm gonna need a
it's
couple
not
different
very
things
good.
here. First, I'm gonna do some perception checks on these people's part. Actually, no, they would be. What would these be? It's a history check. So I'm gonna do 1, 2, 3, 4. Do they recognize what that sword is? No, they don't. All right, and then I'm gonna need a intimidation check from you
Yeah,
because that's what you're
I
trying to
could
do.
suggest.
Well, I
And I'm
go
gonna
for
need-
this thing.
Oh, they all burst out laughing at you.
Pretty much.
I tried. I tried.
I'm not
to
gonna even bother rolling it. They don't move from where they were going to be. They don't know what that weapon is, so they don't determine it to be a threat.
Alright.
They think that you're just running around with the hilt of a weapon, which
Okay.
is confusing. And yeah, so then they just kind of look at each other. They don't move, and they're still not aggressive in any way. Nothing else changes, but they are where they are. And say, right at this moment, however, when you this is all going on at the same time, but when you step into the room, like you cross the threshold into this room, and you put your feet down, you, for the first time in a long time, like since you took your deal with the demons, there is a tinge of color in your world again. Like
Ow.
you were seeing everything in like inverted black and white for since then. But you've been able to see much more detail but less color. So everything is black. Everything is darkness except for white outlines around things, with some minor grayscaling in between, for determining like shades. It's not so drastic that just white and just black. It's mostly that, though. All the same, for a brief moment, let's say less than a second, the world looks normal, or what you remember it to look like, typical. So it kind of inverts back, and you also see color again for just an instant, and then you hear a voice, the voice of the demon that gave you the deal in the first place. Let me go grab his name. We got those on purpose. So, custom handouts. Your gift, Lucian. Irga. Let's call it Irga. Irga. It's a kind of breathy, raspy male voice, or mostly male. It's not exactly classic male, but it's still, it's like you're a betting man. It's like 60-40. And he says, "Oh, it's you. I didn't expect to encounter you again, at least not so soon." And as his words are like echoing off your head, this is telepathic. Nobody else is hearing this. Your vision is kind of like wavering back and forth, like kind of like pulsing with the, like essentially, kind of like when you do like on like VLC or Winamp or whatever, and you have like a visual effect for listening to music, how it kind of goes in tune with the music itself.
Yeah,
That's the whole point of it. Similarly, your vision kind of pulses and doing with his speech,
Oh.
and it returns to normal whenever he is silent, or normal for you. And he says, I've been so bored for so long. It's interesting to see one of my pets, let's use that term, get so far when I believe they had so little. So then I'm just being very specific. I'm kind of improvising a little bit of this. He says, I didn't know the order in which you guys would go in. Or if it would be from combat immediately. He says, actually, no, at the exact same time when all this is happening, just to kind of very momentarily cut back, Michael, your juju goes off in a level, and that you feel the presence of fiends. If you normally have that ability that you have to focus on. I believe you have something like that you can detect like undead and fiends and such. Something that takes a bit more willpower. And I think you tried it before and you didn't sense anything, but it's like a feeling that washes over you. It's not as acute as when you're actively searching, but it's something that you sense all the same on some level, whether it's just like supernaturally and internally, you sense the presence of more than just the imp on Fiona's shoulder. But when he does speak, you don't hear this, but you feel that, and then at the exact same time, the imp kind of raises its head in curiosity, like it heard something, and looks around before piercing you with a gaze that is far more direct and intentional than before. Before it was just watching you because you were in the room and you're the only one there. I mean, it's like a dog would be looking at you. But now it's more deliberate and intelligent. And then it says in a more high-pitched, less intelligent by comparison voice, so less articulate than a typical person, says, what do you do here? And it's again telepathic, it's not conscious. You don't feel the capacity to respond, as far as like you can't, it didn't open up a two-way path for you to be able to speak yourself. But it didn't. It's not like it's arousing the attention of Fiona or anything. Everything else is going as it was with you. But it did. It does seem to have some sort of connection to what's going on downstairs, at least on some level. Going back to Lucian and the rest. It says the demon, the Irga, says. Should be a devil technically, says you seem to have come across a band of fools thinking that they could seek us out.
Oh, good. I thought you were talking about us.
That band of fools that were seeking us out without permission, impolitely seeking favors and the like from us that they had not yet earned. And he says, so if you were to get rid of them, that would be most appreciated. So
Is this the demon talking to him?
Yes, this is only to Lucian and only he can hear it. But yeah, Irga is essentially saying, "Hey, if you could kill these cultists, and maybe more, that would be nice. I'd appreciate it."
Wow. So like when his vision transfers back for a second, he kind of like is stunned and like stands up straight. Like before, he was kind of battle ready,
Yeah.
ready to fight and shit. But then he like stands up looks around, like looks at his hands. He hears this guy talking to him and saying all this bullshit. You know, of course, at first he's just like, "Man, fuck you. You know, you gave me powers, whatever. I'll kill you one." But then he like called Lucian a pet, which really did not sit well with him.
No,
But then he
but
asked
there is
him-
some supernatural connection between
Yeah.
you, though. So it's kind of like a difficult battle. It is. It's like on one level you're like, "Fuck this guy." On the other level you're like, "Damn it."
Yeah, and then he told me that it'd be a favor to kill these.
Mm.
So he's kind of torn
Yep.
because now he doesn't want to kill them, even though he wanted
Yeah.
to kill them before.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
now
we'll
that
see
he
how
wants me to, I'm not good with it.
So yeah,
Exactly.
he like was at midway from like having this lightsaber, you know, fully armed and ready to go, and he like as it kind of goes halfway, he stops, puts it back in its sheath, and he just kind of looks at the cultists in front of him. He says, "Whatever you guys are playing with down here isn't worth your lives. If you want to live, you guys should leave and never come back. This isn't me talking. This is the ones you were trying to summon."
Hmm.
And with the
Interesting.
intimidation of one, you don't notice that your fly is down currently.
Fortunately enough for you, Lucian, your intimidation has passed, and although they do think that you're
Oh, yeah.
not as threatening as before, you do get to now do a persuasion attempt, and we'll see how that goes. If you do get a one, though, you're not far off one as far as how.
By the way,
Wow.
while this is going on, I'm not sure how good the-
That's-
Okay. Wow, cool.
Yeah. It's not my expertise being charismatic.
Can I still say I've been kind of slinking here and working on an alternative solution? If
Yeah,
you know, they're like, we're gonna yell very loud.
Yeah, no, I mean, the way you see Lucian, he was ready to fight, but now he's not really combative
Ah!
to
You know.
fight at all. It
Okay.
almost looks like he just wants to.
Actually, yeah, I'm gonna put you right behind there, Darius, because the pathway is narrow, so you'd have to come in right behind him. It's not something
Wait,
you
wait,
have to-
no. I'm saying I'm just kind of to the side of the door, listening to the conversation.
Is that
If
Okay,
it's
so you're trying to take
sounds
cover. I
like-
thought you were trying to get in the room as well with
No,
the
no,
side
no.
Lucian.
Just the opposite, actually. I want them not to see me.
Oh, okay. That's fine. Yeah, never mind then about that. They don't, and you don't. Nothing happens because you're not in the room. Because there's, just checking again, there's a balding man, middle-aged woman, taller, younger woman, and young man. The young man, the balding man is right in front of you, and the middle-aged woman, which are these three, seem to, despite your very low roll, seem kind of like they're mulling it over all the same. While this other one up here, which is the young woman, taller, younger woman, as I said earlier, says, she would say, "Who do you think you are? We're the ones that call the shots up here in this town. You
That's how-
barge in here without permission, without even identifying yourself, and expect us to do whatever it is you want us to do, or want you to do." And she doesn't. Again, she doesn't have any weapons on her that you can see or anything, and she just starts. Man, she doesn't have any weapons. I'm trying to think of what she would explicitly want to do to initiate combat. Oh, okay, that is going to work. She moves behind the chair and reaches down to grab something that you had not noticed, because if your passive perception is only 15, this was kind of carefully to the side, is a mid-length scimitar of, like, it's kind of not as curved as some are, like especially the one that Cole has is more of your classical scimitar. This one is a bit straighter on. It's more like a falchion, but still is a scimitar in the technical mechanical sense. And she grabs it and pulls it up, and her hands are shaking, and she's very uncertain. But all the same, she kind of brings it up and gives you a look of manifested defiance. The others are looking at each other, looking at her, looking at you. They're kind of uncertain. The balding man in front of you seems to be the most cowardly, because he's the one that's not darting for his weapon, which is also resting up against the chair. But also, while all that is going on, you hear the voice again in your head, and he says, interesting that you think that is the best course of action, especially when I'm the one that has given you eyes that can see so much in this pathetic world. And then for a moment, you get feel like a piercing headache, like a momentary migraine come over your head. Like on the left side of your temple, it just feels like somebody just stabbed a dagger into it. It's quite uncomfortable. It makes you wince despite your training. Not enough to compromise you in any profound fashion, but enough to be they would notice you kind of turn your head and maybe wince some. And then when that happens, you kind of feel the torches, these candelabras in the corners, the flames kind of shimmer and flicker and move and wave, and all the others are the cultists inside are a bit more surprised and but right now, one of them says, kind of whispering, but we didn't, and then they don't finish their sentence. I want to say, one, your hair kind of stands on end, and you feel I can't remember very specifically your deals again. You got the one where you got the doggos, and you also got
The spider climb.
the spiders, yeah. So you have the other eye. Anybody looking at one would see the eye on one's head, which typically just stares out straight ahead, coldly, arguably lifelessly. It's never moved. You've never seen it move. It just stares out directly ahead. It's practically more of an ornament than looking like a legitimate biological entity. And when she sleeps and closes her eyes or blinks or whatever, it's never done anything. But Darius, as you're kind of have your back against the wall, leaning against it.
Negotiations. What the fuck?
Yeah, you
What?
kind of
What is it?
you're looking over at one in the periphery, and you kind of see one who is in whatever stance she is, because I don't know exactly what one is doing. She, you see her face, and you see the eye kind of dart momentarily and look around, and kind of look at you, stare at you for a moment, before kind of returning to its original position, and. Yeah, at that same moment, that's when one felt her this coldness kind of wash over her. Then
Yeah. What is it, Darius? What
Fuck
do you
is
see?
it?
Is there something on my face?
Also, yeah, sure.
So can I walk up to this other lady, or are they initiating combat?
trying to think about very specifically I want to do that or
It
not.
does sound like clanging weapons and shots, right?
Yeah, you're hearing
Okay,
what
right.
is very typical combat beginning sounds to an extent of people.
Yeah, okay.
So metal on
yeah.
wood and metal against other surfaces.
Okay. I have an idea, but it kind of depends if we got a view through the living room window on Michael and what's her name, Fiona? No.
Yeah.
Did we?
Yeah, Fiona. Did you what?
Did we see her? Is the question.
I don't think so.
I think the best we would have had is
Very, very barely. I'm talking a silhouette at most. You could.
we had a
when you
glimpse
come
through the
by the
window
windows.
at most or something.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Well,
anything.
that's probably not enough to imitate her like.
Okay. Well,
then never
no,
mind.
you don't have enough knowledge to be able to intimidate it. Like, if you wanted to, it would be. I would allow you to try, but it would take a roll of like remembering. Like,
Okay.
Is he
Sure,
thinking
no,
of
that's-
disguise self?
That's totally fair. You know what I'm gonna do? I want to do this now. I'm going to cast Major Image,
Ah, right.
and
Okay.
it's gonna be what Darius remembers what Fiona looks like, and I'm just going to basically make her walk in front of me, and pretend to have a dagger at quote-unquote Fiona's throat. hand.
Okay.
Alright, I think we need to all calm down.
What's wrong with your voice?
I like it. Let's do an intelligence check to see how well you're Fiona.
Yes.
Yeah,
Sure.
this is just raw intelligence. Wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I know exactly
Jeez,
what
guys,
she
you guys are really crazy. Yeah, well, with
Yeah.
that amazing roll, you actually did get you got like a photographic memory. For some reason, your memory took a snapshot of this woman when you were coming by her and saw her in the windows. Like,
Darius
okay,
has a
she's
thing
a
for older women.
There we
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
Darius has a photographic memory when it comes to older women.
Yep.
But he also crit, it only works sometimes.
Yeah, we know what Darius's predilections and preferences are.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, Darius does all this. I'm not gonna make you roll. That's pretty strong on its own.
I'm
Immediately,
hearing an
all
echo
the-
through your mic there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Better?
Yeah, well,
Yeah, probably. Yes, it is. No. I'm hearing myself again.
I'll just reconnect.
Oh,
Hello.
Hello?
Hello.
hello.
Okay, so we're better now. Anyway, when in response to seeing Fiona being held hostage by Darius, they're kind of all caught off guard by multiple things at once. One, half orc. What? Two, because that's unusual in the orc.
It is.
Two, Fiona is in danger. That's their mistress, their leader. They still have the scimitars in hand, and they're all backing up.
Oh, I'm locked up on that, but imagine they just set up shop in her basement.
Mm.
Like,
So yeah, as he
Yeah,
does
that's
this
right.
behind me, I'm gonna slowly walk towards the female or whoever.
And you're gonna want to try to do that. All right.
Yeah, we'll try to do that. And as I step every 5 feet or whatever, I'm gonna use prestidigitation to slowly one at a time turn out each of these candelabras and just
May not
you know,
even need to try. We shall see. But all the same. All right. So that means Darius. I'm gonna say that you do cross the threshold. I'm gonna make you do that. 'Cause-
yeah, sure. That
Um,
makes sense. You would
yeah.
more lightly into the room, but not too close to those
Yeah,
guys.
yeah. Your bare minimum. You stepped past the doorway into the
Yeah,
room
yeah.
enough that your feet are touching. You did not accept any deals, but I do remember you being propositioned. Without knowing
That's
the specifics of anyone that you did, because that would require ridiculous memory. Perhaps somebody that rolled a 24 on their intelligence check to
No.
be able to recall exactly who you talked to. But let's just make it
Yeah,
convenient and say that
no.
you recognize a voice, let's say you talk to a devil with a feminine voice. This is sultry and but familiar. You recognize it immediately, and it's telepathic, just like it was with Lucian. It's this one sounds kind of giddy, and she says, "Oh, good. It looks like our new friends are about to cause quite a ruckus. This should be entertaining."
Wait, what? Who's talking? What's happening?
Yeah, so you say that out loud, and these people are just the cultists are on full on what the hell is going on? These people are crazy. that perception
Get
check.
off my
Let's
head!
say that perception check. You're able to see some different things. One, you notice that you already know that it was a fake thing anyway, as far as Fiona being fake. But you also notice that
Yeah.
Lucian is kind of uncomfortable
It
and,
was-
like invisible pain. You're familiar with him quite well, and to know that when he's not feeling 100%, and you can tell by the expression on his face that he isn't. Quite
It
comfortable.
was more to do with the spider sense thingamajig, and like, is any danger around me? I'm like looking around to see if we that sort of thing.
No,
Yeah.
no, nothing in this room that you're in.
Yeah.
No.
That was really the
it-
extent of it. I obviously saw Darius transform. He was right next to me. But
Yeah, but I just wanted to say that you did notice that Lucian is in pain, so there's something going on with him. You didn't even feel the eye move. You just felt the hair on your arms.
Sure.
Just kind of stand up, and you got like goosebumps. You're like, whoa, that's weird. You felt that plenty of times throughout your time in Barovia, but not very recently. It's always been associated with something. But, Lucian, you wanted to go across the room and disarm her, but also putting out all the candelabras.
No, I'm not gonna touch her, but yeah, just like every time like I move square, I'm gonna put out one candelabra until I get right up close to her, and then like I'm just gonna walk up when it's like completely dark in the room and just look into her eyes and just say, "Look into my eyes, and you can see where it is you're trying to go.
Okay.
I'll give you one last warning. You should get out of here while you still can."
Then
Not,
you hear,
not touching her.
yeah.
But yeah.
The voice that you've been hearing this whole time, Lucian, becomes loud and kind of overbearing, and says, or overwhelming, that's the right word. It says, not disappointing, but interesting. I'm surprised that you care at all for these people, especially with all the others that you've taken throughout your life, your pathetic life. And then all the fires and stuff kind of flicker again, almost putting them all out. And then they seem to take on a deeper shade of red, like from a standard orangish fiery color to more red. And the cultists seem to be kind of familiar with that, in terms of like that doesn't seem to surprise them too often or too much in that, but it does in that the one said earlier that was mumbling about like that something was going on and they hadn't done anything, or that it would be so soon, that sort of thing. It says, what are they doing? It's kind of that this one here is staring at this candelabra here that's following you walking across the side. And then you feel the pentagram on the ground kind of light up along its outlines in like a glowing sort of reddish color. Slowly it goes from blackness, black marking across the ground, the stone ground, into like a reddish color that's similar in hue to what the candles were looking like. And you feel a presence behind and to your left, right behind you, Lucian, start to manifest, or at least you feel one there that wasn't there before. And then you hear a voice say, the same voice say, well, it's, I still wanted to see a fight, so let's see, you deal with one of my children, or other pets. That's what he says. Let's go with that. I have to choose which one I want to go with here.
Hey, what's going on down there?
Deathmatch.
Are there like demons down there?
Oh yeah, big devils.
Devil's second, yes.
Oh, my people.
Yeah, I hope they're your people, because maybe you can deal with this guy.
Well, I'm not.
Yeah, no, I know. I assume you'll be hearing us shortly, though.
I'm going to choose which one specifically I want to go with here. Yeah, I have a bunch of different choices. I'm just trying to pick which one I want to go with. I'm going to go with, let's go with this one. All right. So the pentagram is all glowing, and eventually it kind of all coalesces until, like, in the very center of the room, there the pentagram that forms into a pentagon, that kind of shoots out a column toward the ceiling that meets it, and eventually it kind of just spreads out from a pentagonal shape into a sphere that gets larger, that takes up much of the space up to the ceiling. And then as it fades away, it comes back into like a silhouette around this creature that
Oh shit!
that comes into existence there. Immediately when this happens, the cultist, this one here, which is say it's the older woman, she tries to make a run for it to leave, because she's like, oh shit, what the hell, I didn't sign up for this, or didn't think it would get this crazy. So she just move her one space, and that's it. Anything more before we start combat? Let me think. Can't think of anything. You do feel okay, that'll be cool. The very last thing you see here, Lucian, before everything kind of goes quiet, as far as what, yeah, it goes nuts too, is I'll do you one last favor, and then with that, all you hear is, for a moment, the environment, like the entire environment you're in, or at least from your perspective, becomes like muffled, like everything, the reverberations off the walls and stuff are more are reduced to the extent that you get the inclination, the idea that, he may be like muffling the sound so that it won't make any noise upstairs, like they won't be able to detect it, so long as you don't go too crazy with how you attack this thing.
Yeah.
All the same. All right, so I want initiative checks from everybody, and then we'll be taking a break partway through the combat to go back to Michael and Fiona, because I want to do both at once, because I think it'll be funny. So do that.
I take it you don't need one from me.
No, I'm gonna need one from everybody. Because it might detect you, but you're gonna be skipped a lot. Because you are. That's what's gonna happen. But if you do detect the combat, I want to give you a chance to interact with it. So I need to these other people.
Okay.
Yeah, everybody roll initiative.
Were
So
we
did
meant
I
to roll?
sense?
Are we meant to roll these initiatives with advantage because of the enhanced abilities giving us dexterity improvements?
Let me check really quick and see what
Initiative
does.
runs on dexterity.
Yeah, but that's I don't think it works.
I don't think initiative checks. Initiative is a dexterity check, so no, I'm not going to give advantage on any initiative.
Yeah. Sure, cool.
Yeah,
I'm
you
just
still have the effect of the
curious.
spell, but yeah.
So yeah, there are spells and like feats and whatnot that are focused on initiative as opposed to dexterity. So initiative being its own thing.
Okay, cultists are all. I'm gonna have them be all at once to spite it. No, because some of them have different goals than others, so I'm gonna give them all different initiative orders. So that one.
Tried to tell the asses to leave. I tried. Plenty of time.
So, did I sense the presence of devils?
Yeah, I was saying that earlier, but you weren't here. That makes sense. You did sense. Actually, I don't even know if you heard about the imp. Yeah, let me redirect.
I was like halfway into that. Like, the imp was asking me, "What am I doing here?"
Yes. The imp was like staring at you, and then like telepathically asked, like, "What are you doing here?" And like what you do here. It's not as intelligent as a typical person, so its word choices are a bit more simplistic. So all the cultists have turns. Got one from one. I will add you to the chart order, so you weren't selecting your attacking, but not a big deal. And anybody else? Oh, I will add Fiona. Actually, I'll add all them if the combat is detected, but I want to give Michael a chance all the same. So let's do descending. Oh, well, that's convenient. The one that got the 20 is the one that was the most nervous. This one in the upper left corner. She moves this direction. She was hiding behind, not hiding, but behind the chair here, and had picked up her scimitar, and she was nervous before you, Lucian, in terms of not entirely showing the greatest amount of martial confidence, but all the same wanting to defend herself because she's terrified for her life. So she slashes out with the scimitar at you with the intention of getting you to leave her alone, but she misses terribly.
Yeah.
We go to Michael. You sense a upswell in your environment, detecting that there is definitely another. You already sensed a demonic presence before, a devil, a fiendish presence before, when Lucian initially had crossed over the threshold and was being communicated to by the fiend that gave him the true set that he has. And you sense that in a loose fashion, not as strongly as you do when you're using your active ability to look for them, but you sense it all the same. And now when this new creature actually comes into the material plane, it's much more acute, and you know where it is. That, oh, your friends are getting up to something interesting, and it's not something you expected. You're used to fighting undead here in Barovia, but devils are not something as common.